Analysis paralysis is for real. And for years, I was stuck just absorbing and learning and not taking any action. And what it really amounted to was really just hesitating. So, with that analysis paralysis comes delay of gratification. And in this video, I hope to talk about a few things that might light your fire and also just show you that sometimes it's easier than you think to just begin. Hi, my name is Paul Tripodi, and I took $15,000 or about that to about $50,000 per year in income. Now, that's no small feat. And to talk about it plainly in one short video doesn't really give it too much credence, but I know I can walk through a couple things with you. And really, I don't even know how else to start, but to justify talking about the simple myths. There's the basic ones that, was my credit score good enough? Did I have enough money to start? Did I know what I was doing? Did I have enough people? Did I have enough connections? All these things that I thought I needed to have to start. And it turns out I really didn't. And it's, I guess after many years of doing this, I guess, or a couple of years, I guess, that it's okay to start, just imperfectly. And that's how I did it. Nothing about anything that I did had a clear, defined roadmap. I just knew I needed to do this. I was inspired by many people. I was inspired by a lot of books that I read. And the moment I really snapped out of it was when I started speaking to people as if I already actually freaking knew what I was talking about, as if I had already done it, but I really didn't. So my words would fall flat. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but just imagine hanging out with the guys, a couple beers, and just casually saying, "Oh yeah, you could just do this, or you could just do that," when I never even actually did it. So now that I'm actually doing it, it just makes you walk a little bit taller, helps you feel a little bit better, and I definitely have some experience working with tenants, dealing with large amounts of money of my own, which is different, and things like that that I never thought I would be doing, but I definitely walked into it with confidence. You know, uh, in a business sense, for my jobs that I've always worked, I always worked with large sums of money, and it really just threw me off when, for instance, that down payment of $15,000, that was huge. You know, uh, Before I did digital payments, for my tenants, they were paying in cash, and receiving cash payments of $3,000 or $6,000 in cash, like rolled up 20s and hundreds. That was crazy, but that stuff doesn't really happen, anymore. Uh, and I don't suggest you take cash payments for your rent, but point is I actually did have all the knowledge to do all this stuff. I really, even to today, I still haven't truly used a lot of resources beyond reading books. I would say like a normal amount, not an excessive amount, but a normal amount of like podcasts and YouTube videos. I consider myself a reader, so I would be either reading or taking courses. There's a couple courses that I've taken, and I also used a real estate coach, just to kind of like rapid fire, some steps that I was having trouble with. So, those are some of the things that kind of led to the point where, okay, I was ready to take action. I was knowledgeable enough to take the action, and really the knowledge and the confidence to move forward and like take that action was all I really needed. Sometimes when you don't know, it's a little bit tougher, um, but in those steps, what I also wanted to talk about was, what made it easier was eliminating distractions. And that's kind of one of my mantras that I am weaving into all these, videos is, eliminating this, it sounds crazy, but like, eliminating a lot of things that are just holding you back. Things like hanging out with friends all the time. When you're young, it's almost all you do. And in some cases, eliminating even uh, spending time with family. Uh, just like holidays. I'm not extreme stuff like holidays, but I have found myself not really being phased by missing out on big family events like barbecues or holidays. And I think that's like a big deal. Like when you are switching off all of those distractions, even if you read books or you play video games or you go to parties or you're traveling a lot, I eliminated all travel, all concerts. There was like a bunch of stuff that I was spending money on, and I wanted to just focus on this one thing, which was real estate investing. And that took me on the path to focus on buy and hold multis. I knew that just having one under my belt would give me a few lessons to learn, that I knew I was ready for. But what I wasn't prepared for was, kind of obvious stuff like working with numbers, understanding like the cost of fixing things. I did understand that stuff, but I've never really paid for all of them all at once in one year, so there's, ways I worked around a lot of that. But viewing properties, understanding kind of like all the issues that need to be fixed, selecting properties that had the least amount of fixes, aka the least amount of money to spend to fix those. There are other people that just buy the house in very derelict mode. They're very disheveled, and they don't really look that great. There's rats and there's broken windows. There's like houses that have been ignored by their owners, and people love that stuff. They love starting from scratch so they can just rebuild the whole house, and in some cases it works. I am on the side of I'd rather just buy the property with the least amount of fixes, and if I can fix it up myself, you'll probably see some other videos coming up shortly where I like to be a little bit more hands-on and fix things on my own. I think it's better. I think it's a good use of my time, and it makes things more tangible. I like to know and be a little bit more intimate with my properties, and it's also like a money saving thing. So anyways, but diving into how I was hesitant for so long and understanding that I was ready for this stuff, that really was that I guess the on off moment, the light switch, switching on and off. That moment was when I was kind of like sick of everything, just sick of working a job, sick of just making just enough, and having that extra $1,000 to $2,000 a month right out of the gate really was a game changer. And I think it would change a lot of things for you, if you're just starting out. So that's who I hope this video is reaching, is people who have, $1,000 to $2,000 worth of debt, and you could wipe it out like pretty fast. Sometimes we don't understand, all the educational loans or the credit card loans, and sometimes we think like it's okay to have that stuff. And I kind of tend to agree that it's okay to have some debt. There's good debt and there's bad debt, and some of that stuff that just weighs you down. To flip it all around is to increase your income big time. So what I'd say to myself if I was in my early 20s or early 30s, because I'm in my 40s now, and I mean, I would totally just be like, look for any way to dive into real estate right this very second. And I did take baby steps when I was a little bit younger, but I didn't dive right into the deep end. There's some websites you can invest in and you earn like 6%, or like you can do wholesaling where you like cold call people. And if you have enough connections, it could work. I know people who are like millionaires by doing wholesaling. But I also know people who just make like $5,000 or $10,000 per year extra, just trying to grind and do, some wholesaling on the side. And it's like an extra job. This is one defined way where you buy the property, what it will return on, what the return on investment could be if you raise the rents to where they should be, marketed appropriately, and you could be making some serious income. In my case, one unit, I increased it by like 3 times the amount, and I received it. It's all it is, taking that step. So, um, you know, I wanted you to hear some of those words, basically coming from me. Could I have done this 20 years ago? Probably. Um, would I have spun my wheels a little bit more? Probably. But the stakes are high. We do need more money. And some of the basic pay in whatever country you're living in, including the United States, the minimum wage is $15 or $20, an hour. I don't know exactly because I didn't really check it, but you know, $25 an hour is just not going to cut it. That's the average, around the average income. To earn about 40 to 45K it's not enough. It's not enough. Not enough when the things that cost money rise in price so fast. You need to find a way to start earning some passive income. So, in closing, I probably could diverge on all those points. I just wanted you to know that, take it from me, if you sit and do nothing, you will be nothing. Every little piece of progress, even if it's reading a book or taking a course, that's a positive step in the right direction. So you need to take those steps immediately. And if you don't, any of that progress, it's just so much harder to take massive leaps and bounds to increase your income when all along there's that person at age 20 or 25 who's just chugging along, taking baby steps every single step of the way. That person is probably better off. And it's the theory of 1%. If you work on yourself and you justify, today I did 1% better, I did 1% better, and it's measurable. Now this is like going to the gym. I did 1% better, 1% every single day. That is better than the person who's trying to just double their income, right? Like in their 50s or 60s. It's just not, it's going to be just a little bit harder. You're not going to have that much energy, and you're not going to have that much enthusiasm. So take it from me. Use these opportunities while you still can, and get to work, because this stuff, you're gonna need at least $2,000 to $5,000 extra just to start feeling it. You'll start feeling it if you're making 35K or 45K, and all of a sudden you're making an extra $2,000 to $5,000 per month. Let's call it $1,000 a month. That's it. That is going to change your life. It'll help you buy gas. It'll help you buy food. It'll help buy everything. So, closing with this, I want to keep creating, more content like this. If this is something that resonated with you, please subscribe, like, comment. Let me know what you thought about this. Give me some ideas on what I can expand upon for the next video. But otherwise, I'll see you on the next one.